Hi guys, Sam from Warpgate Studios. How you doing? Today I am going to do a little video on assembling one of these bad boys. This is really a video on assembling plastic models from start to finish. I'm just going to do one model today. First things first, I'm going to open up the box. This can be any box of models that you get. And then this is some Eldar Dire Avengers, and I'm going to get these guys out and we are going to take a quick look at the models on the back. This is what one of the models looks like. I've actually picked this box for one particular reason. These models are quite old, so this is going to be a really good chance to kind of look at the older style models and how to assemble these guys. So the bases that come in here, these are the newer style bases for Eldar, which is the 28.5mm bases, and there's a 25mm base in there for the kind of like little totem type thing that they have as well. So first things first, when I am assembling plastic models, my personal preference is actually using plastic glue. Tamiya extra thin cement is awesome. It's pretty easy to use, and will give you a really nice finish. So definitely recommend Tamiya extra thin. You can use the kind of GW Games Workshop. I'm going to try and find it on my desk somewhere. I don't use it that much these days. You can use this. You can even use Gorilla Glue, Super Glue, whatever you want to do. But for I don't recommend that because you get a better fit here. With you don't see as many join lines and stuff like that using actual thin cement, because it melts the plastic a little bit. I say melt, that's a very strong word, but it softens the plastic, and then you push it into each other and it gives a good finish. So so just looking at these models, I know how to build these models, but the first part that you would do is look at the instructions and go through exactly what's needed on the instructions, and then kind of go from there. So it kind of gives you a layout of what you can use and what you can do with these, yeah, we'll see what we can do. I'm literally going to assemble these as the front here. I've actually got two boxes of these, so I'm going to do one with the guys exactly like these on the front. So let's get going. The tools that I'm going to be using, apart from the glue, is some clippers. These are cheap Army Painter clippers that I've had these a couple of years now. They've never gone wrong. A lot better than Games Workshop's ones, and they're about 10-20 bucks at most. I think it's like $12 or something like that. I can't remember. They may have gone up. Really good. Got a nice precision end on there for cutting out bits. And then I've got my craft knife, hobby knife. You can use a scalpel blade if you've got some of the surgical scalpel blades, which is similar to this one. So you can, this is a UK kind of type craft knife, scalpel blade, Swan and Morton version, or you got a US version of here, just a standard craft knife. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to assemble one start to finish and kind of show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to get some feet cut out to start with. So I'm just going to cut out these guys. And I'm going to be going from start to finish to kind of show you how to do a plastic model start to finish. Okay, so there's my feet. Then I've got a body on here and a back. It's going to be one of these. So I'm going to just grab one of the X arch. It says EX, EX, EX. So I'm just going to grab the X arch dude. We're going to go one. And then this one's got like two different types of back on him. I'm just going to double check exactly which ones this is needed for the X arch. Okay, so we're thinking we're going to do the double one. Yeah, okay. All right, I'm going to cut this one off the sprue as well. And then I'm going to start cleaning these up. So the older models have got more prominent mold lines, and you'll be able to kind of see these lines that run down here. And then on the underside of the legs, it's a huge line that goes down there. what I do is I get my craft knife, and you're going to use it on the side and just scrape that line off all the way around. You're going to work all the way around the model, and it's a bit of a pain, but it makes the model look so much better. And if you're going for a decent level of display kind of quality, then you need to make sure that this is completely cleaned up. So I'm just literally going around it, walking around it, as I mentioned, walking around the model on a kind of vertical method, just making sure everything's cleaned up underneath, and that line disappears of where they've cast the model, and make it all nice and smooth. Once I've done this, I'm actually just going to stick it straight onto the base, so that I've got a nice decent base to work from. So I'm going to grab my glue, give this a good coat of the glue, and stick this down on the model, and then we got that to work with. The torso, again, exactly the same process with the torso. You will go around it, glue it, and sometimes you'll see this, which is once I've actually glued this together, you'll see there's a tiny line in here of where the two pieces of plastic join each other. This is why I recommend this kind of Tamiya plastic glue, because you can run this around instead of super glue. Super glue won't do this. You can gently melt these two bits of plastic into each other by just gently running your plastic glue over it and just letting it set, and it'll just naturally melt that plastic and give you a fantastic clear finish. And you don't really need to use any filler on it if you do that. So that's one of the reasons why I use plastic glue, is the fact that you haven't got to go over with filler or anything like that. So this is the model that I'm going to be using. This is the X-Arch model. I'm just going to have a quick look to see what else we need on this model to get going on it, and it looks like we need to get another piece of the back for it off of this sprue. Let me just see. I think it's this piece here, E, which I believe is should be good to go. So I've just again cut that out, chuck the sprue over on the side, and then we're gonna clean this up. These pieces don't seem to have that much of an issue. There's a little bit of sprue on here. Sorry, I'm just going to try and keep everything on camera as much as I can. And then just, yeah, scraping, getting everything smooth, and then again, dry fitting and making sure that it's all dry fits correctly. This can be fiddly. There we go. So there's that, and I'm going to just try glue this on here. Plenty of glue. And again, plenty of glue with the Tamiya. Isn't that much glue, it's not crazy. And as you can see, it fits superb on there. And again, any issues, you can just gently give it a push together, and because it's melting the plastic, it's pretty easy. Again, if you've got any mold lines, gentle mold lines, and you're like, okay, I'm not sure what I'm doing, you can actually get this plastic glue, this very thin plastic glue, and kind of melt it into each other, and it will take off any real tiny little mold lines on here that's left, and leave you with a really nice looking model. And you don't really need to worry about it then. So yeah, that's just a little tip that I've found going forward, that just a little tiny little gentle coat of this helps with those mold lines and gets rid of them quite nicely. So yeah, awesome. Don't put too much on because it will just melt the whole model, but just a little gentle one is fantastic. So that's the base of the model done, back, front, ready to go. We've got the torso done as well now. I am going to look and grab the head of the X-Arch, which is this bad boy here on the end with a big old chin, and we're going to cut him out. And I'm going to keep this separate because, again, I'm going to paint these up a little bit different from the models, the standard blue models. My whole army is like a light tealy blue, so for these to stand out, I'm actually going to do my Dire Avengers in like a bone color. Just because I was like, what the hell, this could be a good opportunity to kind of go crazy and experiment with some different colors for Dire Avengers. And I thought, yeah, that'd be pretty rocking. So I'm just cleaning up this head and just getting there's a mold line that runs all the way down the plume of the feathers on his head. So I'm just cleaning that up as much as I can. And again, you'll still see there's like a ridge on there. And we're just going to try and get rid of that by scraping it, which is working, and then just trimming up the bottom. There is a mold line down the front of this model, which you've got to be really gentle with, just to get it all looking nice. Give it a quick dust over. Okay, that's looking pretty rocking. But I'm going to keep this separate because the body is going to be different from the head. The heads I'm actually going to do in a black, so I'm going to prime these black. The bodies I'm actually going to do it in a bone kind of color, so I'm actually going to prime these white. And that's the only sub-assembly that I'm doing on these models, is the fact that the body and heads are going to be primed differently. It can be a pain, but it's a hell of a lot easier painting in that way. So now I've given this a bit of time to dry. It only needs a couple of minutes. I'm going to put the Dire Avengers torso on, and let's have a quick look at that. Make sure that pose is pretty good. Dry fitting it that he's going to have a head there, and he's going to be doing something with his arms. And now I've got to work out the loadout for this guy. So I'm going to quickly look at the picture and see, and I think what we're going to do is give these guys, they're pretty good in combat, in shooting, I believe. So I'm going to kind of give them a little bit of a close combat type thing. I think, you know, there's some different options on here. There really is some different options. So you can kind of go Dire Avenger Exarch with just guns. I'm not sure about that. I don't think they're that good in combat though, so I may well just give him the variant of him having a gun and kind of go from there. So let's do that. Let's give him as an Exarch the gun. What we're going to do is have a quick look to see. These are all the different weapon options that he can have. He's got a big banner at the back, of which I'm gonna get that cut out now and cut that out and lay that down. So that's going to be one, and then I believe he also has a sword that I'm going to put on the back as well, because there's other bits that he can have, I think, or he's got a targeting array. Interesting. I think I'll probably give him the targeting array actually, and maybe the banner, or maybe the targeting array and the sword. He probably doesn't need the banner, but we'll see what works best. I'm going to cut them all out and then try and fit them and see what's what. I've also got a front banner to put on him, front kind of cloth. I'm just going to doubly make sure this is all cleaned up correctly. Take a quick look at it. Give this a quick clean up, and this is a little bit more gentle. I believe this is kind of like just a loin cloth on the front, so we're going to stick that on there. Okay, yeah, I'm happy with that location. So that's just to indicate, you know, the more loin cloths and cloths these guys have, I think the more special they are. But again, same thing with the banner. I'm just going to scrape off the cut marks of where I cut it off the sprue, and then kind of go over it and look at where any mold lines are on this model, and give them a scrape, and just kind of make sure that this thing is good to go. Okay, that looks good. And then this is going to go into the backpack. look like this. And I believe that's kind of like where we're at with this one. This doesn't look particularly good. I'm tempted to actually cut this off and just sink this on at that angle. So yeah, I'm going to do a little bit of a conversion on this. I don't like the way that it's angled frontwards, so I'm actually just going to give this a cut here to straighten this up and then give it a glue. So let's see what that looks like now. See if that looks any better. For me, that looks a little bit better. Yeah, I like that. If I'm gonna have a banner on his back, then that's, there you go, it fell off. That's the only thing with plastic glue, you gotta hold it there for a little bit while it melts, but it's no problem. If it falls off, you can just melt it back on again. And there you go. So yeah, I kind of like that look on there. It's not too bad. It's better than it being angled forward. If I'm going to have an X-Arch with a banner to work on, then that's fine as well. So we'll leave that on there, and then I think I'm going to do the scanner. So we'll have a quick look to see which side the scanner goes on. Oh, it's either one or the other. Okay, so this one does actually have the scanner or the banner, so I think I'm going to take that off. And again, that's another good thing with plastic glue, is that if you decide, oh no, I don't like that, and you've re-glued it or something like that, you can just take it off pretty quick. It's easy to take off. Difference with that and super glue is once you've got super glue on there, it's a pain in the ass to get back off again. You can break it back off again, but then it's always going to be a pain re-gluing that area because of the amount of super glue that you've got on there. So I'm just cleaning this up. This can be a bit of a pain, these lenses and stuff, especially if they've got mold lines on. But let's see what this looks like now on there, because this guy's got a gun. I'm thinking that the scanner is probably going to be a better idea. There you go. I'm not sure how that's supposed to kind of go with his head in the way, but you know, interesting. We can do that. It's kind of hidden by the head anyway if I'm going to be looking that way. Maybe I'll position his head that way, and then that might look more decent. And then it looks like there's a sword that's going to be going in here for the other side. So but let's get that cleaned up and put on that back. But yeah, these older models do seem to have a lot more mold lines on them, which, you know, it just means more cleaning up, which is a bit of a pain. But as far as all of that goes, they still look good. It's just a little bit more prep work that needs to be done on them. I'm not, you know, amazed by these. Some of the newer Eldar models are really, really nice, and very, very minimal amount of. I think there's a mold line down there on that. I'm just going to clean that bottom off. And it makes me laugh. People ask me how long it takes me to assemble models, and it can be a long, long time. I'm not going to lie. It's sometimes it takes me an evening of assembling models before I can even start painting. So that's going to be the back of my model. I'm kind of okay with that. I'm just going to paint a little bit of the glue over the lens just to get rid of that that mold line as well there. Everything else seems pretty rocking. The head I'm going to drill a hole in, stick that onto a pin so that I can paint this separate. Banner I'm not going to bother with, and then I'm just finishing off really this model by grabbing some hands. So we're going to grab the X-Arch's shuriken gun, cannon, whatever it is, and I'm gonna grab the hand that actually goes with that. So let's go with this one. And give this a clean up. And again, first part to clean up is where I cut it off the model, and then start working on there. The parts that where it came off the model are the most important to smooth off, and then it's a case of working through the mold lines and those sorts of things and making sure the mold lines is good. So we're going to carry on with this. That looks pretty good, happy with that, and maybe there's a little bit of a mold line on the scope at the back there, and maybe even the front part here. Just scraping. You can do this with a mold line cleaner. I just use a craft knife. Again, after working on with these things and cutting yourself as many times as I have with them, there's a healthy respect, but you know how to use them if you know eventually, and not cut yourself and get mold lines cleaned up pretty damn quick. So I like that. And then once we've done with these, I am going to glue these in place, because again, they're all going to be the same. I'm not going to bother sub-assembling this because they're only Dire Avengers. If it was a Lord or something like that, then yeah, I'd think about it a little bit more. But because it's just a Dire Avenger X-Arch, I'm not, you know, gonna go nuts with it. One of the things that I do with these two-part models that have a arm and another arm that fits into each other, I'm actually going to glue where the arm is going to be holding the weapon, so that it just adds another level of glue when I'm ready. So I'm going to put the supporting arm in first and get this in here into the glue area and get that ready to go, and make sure that's glued in nice. That's hit the area that I want it to, and then because we've got this already glued, it's just a case of sticking another little bit of glue on here to make sure that that cement is already working on both parts of the plastic. And then we're gonna start working out where we want this. So this for me doesn't work at the moment, but I'm going to manipulate it a little bit and get it put into place. And as you can see, I've now got all the parts ready to go. So the arms in. Yeah, there's a little bit of a gap up there, and I'm just going to pop a bit of plastic glue up there to melt that all up there. There's a bit of glue on there. Let's get that put in there. And again, all of this will just help melt all of that plastic in there and give it a really, really good seal. So that is the finished model. And as I said, I'm going to drill a hole in this, paint this separately, and then this whole model will be painted separately as well, so because they're going to be primed differently. So there you go. That's my little introduction video to making a plastic model from cutting off the sprue ready to go to prime. I will do more of these videos if people want them. This is just a real basic video for people to kind of know how to cut a model. It's like making plastic models 101 basically. So yeah, let me know if you like this model, if you're building Eldar, and also if you appreciate this, let me know. Please subscribe to the video to the channel, and I'll do some more of these if there's a call for it. Thanks for watching, appreciate it, take care, and I'll speak to you soon. Cheers.